The Raptors had their chances in Portland, but eventually fall to the Blazers. 118-113 is your final. I'm Randy Urban, and this is Raptors Night Cap. Tonight, we're joined by Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, and Leo Rautins. Leo, I'm going to start with you tonight. The Raptors started hot. OG's on fire. How did this game slip away for them, specifically in that second quarter? Because that's where I feel like the Raptors kind of took their foot off the gas.
Well, it's not just the second quarter. I mean, you stop and think about it. Portland shot 56% for the game, right? They finished the first half, they were on fire. They finished the second half. Percentages are good. So, one, it's hard to win on the road. Two, you're not winning a lot of games on the road. The fact that you had a chance coming down the stretch when you let a team at home shoot 56%. And think about, the points in the paint, second chance points, a lot of different things that Portland was able to take advantage of. And you got your two guards that, put together a heck of a game. So we saw this before, right? Cleveland came to Toronto after a crappy effort the night before and had a big game. And Portland came in from Denver after a crappy night and put together a big game. So sometimes it's not good catching a team off a very poor performance. And that's what the Raptors did. And Portland responded.
To your point, Leo, the Detroit Pistons came in after scoring 78 points and then put up a season high. And I think the thing that's concerning is it's a second straight game.
Jones, I was referring to that game. I said Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right. That's the game.
I think we're on the same page because it's a second straight game where you've allowed a team to shoot north of 50%. And that's just, it's disturbing because that hasn't been the trend with this team. They've been really good defensively this year and all phases of it, steals, rebounding, all of those things have been good. And it's the second straight game where it hasn't been. Now, to that end, boy, they when you're depending on offense, your margin of error is very small when you're not getting stops at the other end. And we saw it keep points in the game, some really tough turnovers when they were in the midst of a run that almost broke their own momentum.
Sherm, despite all that stuff, did it not feel like the Raptors still should have won? Like even though Portland was going on these runs, I still felt like Raptors lost this game. Portland didn't win it.
I could see that perspective, but give credit to Portland. They made big plays down the stretch. CJ McCollum was great in the fourth quarter. Larry Nance Jr. was very good off the bench for this team. And I think if you're the Raptors, they kind of found the recipe. They got to a point where they were close late in the game. Now they need to break the tape, and they didn't make enough plays. So that cost them. But overall, Portland did a good job of staying in this fight and not let go of the rope and giving themselves a chance to win. And their two guards were phenomenal in this game. So if you're the Raptors, you got to figure out how to be more consistent down the stretch. And I think that's where it starts for this team.
Yeah, Randy, when I was watching that, I'm going like, okay, how did the Raptors tie this thing at the end of the third? How do they? How are they? A bucket or two away from getting right back in here in the fourth down the stretch. So, I was actually surprised the other way that they still gave themselves a chance in light of the fact that Portland was shooting as well as they were and doing other things.
But Portland just strikes me as that team that always lets you back in, just because they've historically been so bad on defense. And the defense starts at the top with CJ and Dame, and they're not the greatest defenders, right?
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say to Leo's point, it's what I mentioned earlier. It was the offense that kept Toronto in the game tonight, and because Portland is not a great defensive team, they will always allow you to be back in the game if you can go on a scoring run. And I thought the Raptors did that, but as Sherm said, when it was time for just one or two more key plays, when you're depending on your offense, it's like football. You throw the ball on every play, you make 8 completions. Hey, when you throw the ball, 3 things happen and 2 of them are bad. And the Raptors strung together a number of offensive plays to keep them in the game, but they didn't get enough defense at the back end to improve their margin of error on the offensive end. And you get a turnover, a missed layup, a block dunk, and because you're not getting a stop at the other end, you're never going to, as Sherm says, break the tape or actually catch them.
So Sherm, what did the Raptors not do defensively against Dame and CJ?
Well, first of all, it's not like it's easy to stop these two guys. They're pretty hard to handle in terms of the amount of ways they can hurt you off the dribble and shooting the basketball with depth. But I think when you're talking about being able to effectively beat a team like Portland, you have to defend them at a high level. You have to consistently be in them because offense is where they win their games because they're able to score the basketball. If you give up 118 points, over 57% shooting in the fourth quarter, I mean, it's just going to hurt you the whole time. And I thought the Raptors, you know, and I saw this a bit against Detroit as well. Detroit felt to me like they felt they could do what they wanted. They felt they could get the shots they wanted from the positions on the floor they wanted. They felt like they could execute their offense. And the Raptors are usually more disruptive than that. And I thought that Portland had a similar feel to them late in this game, that they could get what they wanted. They seemed to be one step ahead in terms of an energy standpoint. And the Raptors on an offensive end, they just weren't as sharp as they needed to be. So Fred tried to bring them back. He tried to do that Herculean effort to bring them in the game, and it was just not enough. But I think defensively, this team is not getting it done at the level we're used to seeing them get it done, especially in close games and especially on the road so far this season. 118 points is a lot of points for this team to give up. So that shows you that they're not really locked in the way that they have been in the past.
Leo,
Portland got into the paint a lot tonight, Randy. I thought Portland got into the paint a lot. And you know, Nasir Little and Larry Nance Jr., some of the guys are getting easy shots from the corner once the ball gets into the paint.
Yeah, Leo, how do you get your defensive identity back, right? You have the length, you clearly have the people to do it. Is it a lack of focus at this point? Or, you know, what are you telling your team if you're the coach?
Oh, hey, you know, from the minute these guys got together, that's been the conversation, right? Hey, use our length, use our quickness, use this, use that. Okay, well, that's got to be who you are. And the games they have won this season, their defense was like that. Their defense was disruptive. They played off of their defense and were able to create opportunities. And also remember, you know, look at some of the Raptors' rebounding numbers in the wins. They did a really good job on the glass, on the offensive glass. They put pressure on the other team. And when you're not doing that, you're going to have problems. This team is not good enough offensively not to play off of their defense and have their defense at a high level. So, you know, there's disruptions, right? You know, Precious is out. Fred's coming back after being out. Pascal's trying to adjust everything that's going on. You know, Scotty Barnes has been terrific, but rookies make mistakes. So there's all of that going on at the same time as you're trying to play at a high level. So, you know, I've been saying this from the beginning of this season. This season could be really good. It could be surprising. It could be a lot of fun, but it also could have some slippages that could look really ugly. And what you're going to try to do is to try to eliminate that. But, you know, ultimately for this team to perform at the level everybody wants to see is you're going to need everybody healthy and you're going to need everybody playing and everybody on the same page. And, you know, clearly that's not the case at this stage.
Jonesy, with Pascal's assists, he had 7 last game, 6 tonight. Is he seeing something different out on the floor? And what number do you think is sort of sustainable for him in that category going forward?
Well, I think those numbers are good considering how much he handles the ball and what he's facing in double teams. I'd also probably like to see what his numbers are in terms of the hockey assist, where he passes to a guy who makes the next pass to a guy who gets the basket. Look, they hit Kem Birch a lot in that short roll, and he's able to throw it into the corners or get guys. He got Scotty Barnes tonight on a dump down for a dunk. I think it's a ball movement, and Pascal has to realize that. And Nick Nurse has always said this: once you draw 2 guys, you've done your job. Just make the simple pass. You don't need the home run pass. I think Pascal's getting his rhythm back, and the defenses are paying attention to him. It's time for him, once he doesn't have a good one-on-one situation and a double comes, just make the simple pass.
Sure. About Scotty tonight, I feel like a lot of good things happen when he gets it in the post, even though he missed a few chippies today, a few ones in close, and did have, you know, a mistake where he kind of went up and he really didn't have anywhere to go there late and he got blocked, or it was they called it travel. But would you consider putting him in the post a little bit more often?
Yeah, I see nothing wrong with that. I think Scotty has been able to really digest everything that's been thrown at him. And to Leo's point, yes, he's going to have those mistakes that he makes in situations because he's learning and he's growing. But I have no problem with giving him opportunities in the post, putting him there to see if he can score, to see if he can be the hub of their offense at times, stuff happening on the weak side, kick it across there and attract a second defender. I like giving him as much opportunity and responsibility as possible because he seems to be growing with every time he hits the floor. So I'm a fan of Scotty being tested and being pushed and being given different situations to operate in because I think he responds well. So yes, he made some mistakes tonight and some tough moments for the Raptors, but at the end of the day, I call them growing pains, and he's going to continue to get better. So I like seeing him involved in late game situations and being a part of the process, either making the play, scoring the basket, or finding a teammate. I just want him involved for his growth and maturity.
Leo, do you agree with that? Do you want him in that position?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, hey, it's clear that he's going to be a big part of what the Raptors are doing. So the sooner he gets through it, the sooner he learns, the sooner he gets goes through the struggles. You have some downs. The sooner you have more ups. I mean, that's all what it's about. So absolutely, and I love the fact that he likes to post people up and get down low. I mean, he's got that old school aspect to his game, and he's very good at it. And if anything, like you said, I would like to see not only the Raptors look for it, but for him to be a little bit more assertive to say, "I'm taking this guy. I'm taking this guy." Nick Nurse has said, shoot more. So he's got the green light to do it.
All right, guys, good stuff as always. Time to say goodbye to the crew. Next game for the Raptors, Thursday night in Utah against the Jazz. Tip-off goes 9 p.m. Eastern. We will see you then.